Hi, I'm BosCo. You see me walk around. I haven't worked editing out yet. Okay, so today we're going to talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street. It's not going to be a review because it was made in 1984, so there's no point in reviewing it, really. We're just going to have a discussion about it. And basically, I'm going through this box set, and we're going to go through all 7 films, and then we're going to do Freddy vs. Jason, and then the new remake, and we'll talk about it. And I want to know what your thoughts are and your thoughts on every film that I'm going to do. But for this one, we're just going to do A Nightmare on Elm Street. So it was directed 1984, written and directed by Wes Craven, absolute legend. So Robert Englund portrays the Dream Demon, Freddy Krueger. So and also Johnny Depp's first film. So we got that going for us. So we get to see Johnny Depp in his lovely short number 10 top. Come on, you want one? Let's see some cosplayers do some Johnny Depp with hair. I can't do it with mine at the minute, but some Johnny Depp hair, let's do it. Alright, so the film opens with the construction of the famous claw. And it doesn't last long then, and it goes into this nightmare scene with Tina. Now, it's been a long time since I've seen Nightmare. Obviously, it's everybody's favourite, but actually sit there and watch it in detail. And I remember thinking, Tina's not the main character, but it's easy to mistake her for the main character. If you hadn't seen it before, you could easily mistake Tina, the blonde character, for the main character. But she's not. We meet a character a little bit later on when they're talking about the nightmares, and her friend Nancy. She ends up becoming the survivor of this story. Should have said first at the beginning, I am sorry. If you haven't seen the film, this is going to contain spoilers. Because it came out in 1984, that film is 2 years older than me. So, go see it. Just go, turn this off, go watch it, come back, join the discussion. Okay? So the film has 4 main characters, which I've gone through all the Jasons, and 4 now doesn't seem like a lot. But what Wes Craven achieves with these 4 characters is really impressive. He's written a good story, a brilliant idea for our main antagonist, Freddy. Not only is he vile, and you will see just how vile he is. He looks vile. He just looks amazing. His look is so iconic, and that's what makes him in what I consider the top 4. Top 4 being Leatherface, Freddy, Mike Myers, Jason. That's my top 4. If you got a different top 4, let me know. Love to chat to you guys about that. Okay, so I'm going to carry on with my spoilerific chat. It's not a review, although review, it's a great film, loved it. I'm not going to do a 5-star rating, 10-star rating, whatever. Just, did I like it? Would I recommend it? Yes, yes, and yes. So we meet our 4 characters. We've got Tina, we've got Nancy, we've got Rod, and in my notes he is dickhead in leather, because that's what he is. He's a dickhead in a leather jacket. He's not likeable. There's one point where he's likeable and he's vulnerable, and it's one point, and it's just before he dies. It's the only bit that I actually liked him even a little bit. And then you've got Johnny Depp's character Glenn. Johnny Depp's character Glenn is a great character. The only thing about his character is he seems unsympathetic to the whole situation. Don't think throughout the film he understands how important this is to Nancy and how life-threatening it is to himself and ultimately himself. But we'll get to that. He just seems to be a bit in a daydream, if you know what I mean. Which, saying that now, just makes you think maybe that was a complex choice. Maybe that was what he wanted. Was Wes Craven wanted this one character who was just sort of like, oh yeah, slept like a rock last night, yeah. So, let's go on about it. So, in the film, you have the famous Freddy song, 1, 2, Freddy. I'm not going to sing it, I can't sing, but you know the song 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 5, 6, grab a crucifix. Oh, I can't count either, apparently. But yeah, so you hear that famous song, and it does play throughout the film on instruments and things like that, and it's subtle, and so it's not in your face, not like Halloween 3 with that song that's been stuck in my head for the last 20 years. We're going to do that in another chat. But that song, Halloween 3, still in my head. I watched it the other day. It's been in my head ever since. It's been in my head for the last 20 years. But this song, it doesn't get stuck in your head, but it's memorable. It's brilliant. It's short. It's something you can imagine. I remember kids singing it in the playground. I got this version, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. And I was like, what's that? What's that? And I had to go home and convince my mum to let me watch Nightmare on Elm Street, and she didn't. But I watched it anyway. So Tina and Rod are an item in this, and they genuinely have the loudest sex I have ever heard in any film. It was just like, me and my wife looked at each other, it was like, what happened? Was we ever like this? It's so loud. But yeah, you start to realise Tina is only with Rod for the sex, because apparently he's really good at it and makes her scream really loud. The one thing I want to point out in this film, and it's something that is different to other slasher films, is there's no real nudity. The most nudity you see is Nancy's back and a little bit of side boob, but that's about it. Not even a lot. I think in a way that adds to the film. Don't tell 15-year-old me that I said that, but it does. It, as an adult now, things like that, leaving it to the imagination. Some of the death scenes are sort of left to the imagination, because you know it's happening in their head, but it's portrayed in real life, so you're wondering, what are they going through? What's this slash doing across the stomach? What's going on in the dream? And that brings me on to one of my favourite special effects in the movie. Not my favourite, I'll get to that. One of my favourites is Tina being thrown around the bedroom. And I was watching it going, it's brilliant. This is brilliant. And the whole film has this, my favourite thing, which is practical effects. And it's at its high point in this film. So you've got Freddy Krueger's arms stretching out, and you've got the bed scene, and it's just, oh, stunning. I'd like to, when it comes, I'd like to watch the making of this film. I've ordered the You'll Never Sleep Again. We'll get to that when it gets here. I'm going to sit through it, watch it, talk about it. I might break that up into segments though, because it is a long documentary. So let's have a look. I'm looking at my notes. If you wonder why I keep looking to the side, I got my notes that I took when I was watching the film last night. I don't have the best memory. I've got a bit of a goldfish memory. I don't want to forget anything that I liked. So we're on about the practical effects, and we're on about Tina going around the room. It's great, and she dies in this horrific way. And I've got quite a few kids. But my second eldest, she's just turned 11. She's like, "Can I watch it? Can I watch it?" And I was like, I have this thing with films where let me watch it first, and I'll talk to your mum about it, and we'll sort it out. So I've let her watch it, like Child's Play 2. So I needed a reminder on Nightmare, and she said, "Can I watch it then? Can I watch it?" And I said, "No, no." And it's not overly scary. It's actually fairly tame compared to a lot of things, but it holds up. So it is frightening. It is still the idea of this dream demon that you can't even go to sleep to get away from it. It's amazing. It's stunning, to be completely honest. The whole idea of Freddy Krueger, and I think Robert Englund plays him in such a great way. And in this film, he hasn't got the Freddy charm, not yet. He's still great, but he's not got the Freddy charm, not yet. But what he has got is the Freddy run. The Freddy run. His voice is cool as well. It's not quite the Freddy voice that you're used to, but it is very cool voice. So it says you got the run, and it has some of the best fashion choices known to man. There's this scene where the Nancy's in school, and she's trying not to fall asleep, and this lad's reading, and she falls asleep, and it goes into this great thing. But the lad that's reading is wearing this blue shirt, and it's the high point of 80s fashion. Absolutely brilliant. And I told my wife I'm going to get this shirt. No, BosCo, you're not. You're not at all. She doesn't call me BosCo, not yet. She'll come round to it. But it has got a great death. Rod gets hung by his own sheets by Freddy in his dream, and it sort of hints at it. It hints at it in this bit where Freddy looks up and he's like, yeah, "I'm going to do this. There's nothing you can do about it," and it shows how powerful his powers are as a dream demon. He's like, that's where his cheat comes from. That's where his arrogance comes in. I'm gonna do this, and there is nothing you can do about it. But you do find out later on that there is something she can do about it. So when Rod gets hung, later on, like I say, she finds out there is something she can do about it, and she manages to pull Freddy's hat out of a dream. And by doing this, she realises that she's got to wait to defeat Freddy. So that is clever among itself, and it also essentially brings Freddy back from the dead, because you do find out how awful Freddy is and what Freddy did. And when she pulls this hat out and she won't stop talking about it, her mom says it's about time I told you the truth, and you find out she's kept Freddy's claw. So in the cellar of this house, in like a boiler, has been hidden Freddy's claw. You find out what the parents did to Freddy, what Freddy did to the parents as well, and the children. They're being a parent and having kids. You start to realise that the parents weren't wrong with what they did, and you see it as a different perspective. Being a parent is, yeah, I would have burnt a man to the ground for hurting my children too. And the idea of that is again fantastic. It's chilling, and it's, like I say, it still holds up. So if I'm 31 now, so 32, 33 years later, it still holds up. That's pretty amazing. So you see some of the best practical effects that I think you're ever gonna see, really. Like Freddy's arms extending, yeah, they look fake, but it's brilliant. And that's but at the time it looked brilliant. Freddy in the wall, just expanding out of the wall, was amazing, and Tina getting thrown around. But then it comes to what I said we'll speak about my favourite effect. It's not even that good, but I love it. It's the phone with the tongue. I am your boyfriend now. Fucking hilarious. I want to see if I can buy a landline phone for my house that just has this tongue on. When you speak, it's just flapping you in the face. And also, a great practical effect is Glenn's death. He gets pulled into the bed, and it's just this fountain of blood just comes out of the bed, and it's just mad. But what this leads on to then is something that took me out of the film a little bit, but not in a bad way. In a sense of, it reminded me of Home Alone. She starts setting up these traps. This music comes on. It was very Home Alone to me. But it does play into the film, and it plays into the film in a really good way as well. So just bear with it, but not that you wouldn't. It's not Nightmare on Elm Street. But yeah, she ends up pulling Freddy out of the dream after this plan that she's hastily put together, and she says to her dad, who doesn't really. He's like, yeah, just go get some rest. And I don't think he takes it seriously at all. Ends up saving her, but in saving her, she sets Freddy on fire because he doesn't believe her, and she ends up setting him on fire, which leads to her mom's death. That is where the film, even though it's ending at this point, gets really weird, because you see her getting lowered into this bed, and her hand comes up like she's waving, and then she's so devastated, she sort of goes outside with her dad, and then all of a sudden, it's daylight, everything's okay, all her friends are alive, her mom's alive, and you're just there sort of going, what? Was the whole thing a dream? And obviously knowing that they make the next 6 movies after this one, you'll know what happens. We're going to talk about each one individually, so we're not going to start going into the next film now. But for what Wes Craven wanted was this one standalone film did what I like with films and horror films. Japanese horror films are brilliant for it. Gives you something to talk about after the film's finished. What I like to call a date film. You all go see Freddy, then you go for dinner, and you chat about that ending. You talk about the ending and what it means. Obviously, they end up making the next film, so it answers your questions. But for the time between the film, you've left with this question, and if Wes Craven had got his way and just had this one film, it would have been, I don't know, it would have been legendary. I think sometimes making the sequels to the films stops a film being legendary, like The Matrix. The first film, if they'd just left it the first film, would have been a legendary film, and then in the end it became a mediocre series. Think about that sometimes. Do sequels ruin films? Not all the time, but can you think of sequels that have diminished the first film, such as A Nightmare on Elm Street? It's a conversation I'd like to have definitely in the future of sequels that not destroy, diminish the first film. Whether Nightmare is one of those, then let me know. If you think Friday is, I keep saying Friday's brilliant sequels and then they get rubbish. We'll talk about that soon. But Nightmare, do you think it would have, like, Freddy Krueger would have been as legendary as he is now without the sequels? Or do you think the sequels diminished the original vision? Let's have a chat about that, I'd love to. So let me know what your thoughts are of this film. Loved it, hated it, preferred a different one in the series. We're going to get to all 7 of them, but obviously we've got to start at the beginning. So that's it. This is a rundown of the film. I thought it was a great film. I thought it had great moments, brilliant practical effects, a really dark antagonist. You don't realise how dark he is because of his personality, especially in later on films. And I think Robert Englund is the Freddy. We will get to that. But he is the Freddy, and for better or worse, he's the Freddy. Better, though, let's be honest. He's awesome. He's brilliant. He's a nice bloke. Brilliant actor, and he does more with Freddy than you think he does. The way he holds his arm and the way he carries himself and the way he's just fantastic. And the acting in this film, Johnny Depp is you can tell it's his first film. Obviously he goes on to do Edward Scissorhands and he acts with just his face. Brilliant. My son's trying to come in the room. I'm going to have to make sure he's alright. So let's wrap this video up. He acts with just his face in Edward Scissorhands, so he becomes this phenomenal actor. And the acting in this film is good. It's good. It's not going to win anybody any Oscars, but it's fine. It's good. The setting is great. The dream world is great. The storytelling is great. So all in all, this film is really great. So if you haven't seen it, and I've spoiled it enough for you, go see it because you will enjoy it. Just pick up this DVD, Blu-ray. There's a new Blu-ray. Just pick it up. Whatever you got to do, watch it. Obviously, most of you already have, but if you haven't, please watch it. Let me know your thoughts. Get back to me. So you can always reach me on Instagram and Facebook under BosCo Masks. Hit a like and subscribe. Still working the YouTube out, hence where you see me going to walk off. You can see me walk off to turn the camera off in a second. But you can catch me at BosCo Masks on both. That's BosCo Masks. Facebook and Instagram. I don't really do the Twitter. I've got nothing against it. I just don't do it. But you can catch me, and I'm happy to chat, happy to talk. Obviously, keep your negatives down to a minimum. Like my old mom said, if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Still learning, so the production quality I know. Don't need to tell me, okay? But I'm not here to talk about production quality. I'm here to talk about movies, okay? Tomorrow I'm going to do a video on the jacket for a Jason cosplay, and I meant to say Jason that time. So I'm going to run through that. I'm going to run through all the bits to the costume individually as well, because I didn't obviously do a making up. I've got some blank masks on the way, so there are videos coming for tutorials and things like that. Is there anything you want to see? Let me know either on here, on Instagram, or on Facebook. I will do my absolute best to get back to you as quick as possible, but we will go through it all. And also, I've got the Freddy Claw coming, and we're going to go through that as detailed as I can get. Bought the worst glove I could find, try and turn it into something half decent. Anyway, good afternoon, morning, evening, night, whatever time it is where you are. I hope you're having a great one. Be nice to each other, and take great care. Thanks for watching. Bye.